So the next thing I'll do to check the abdominal muscles is the sit-up test, okay? So put your hands across your chest. You'll hold their feet down a little bit, and I'll say sit up as slowly as possible. You have to do it slowly because what will happen is if you don't, they'll just kind of jerk themselves up and lay back down. Okay. If somebody has the inability to flex their lumbar spine, they will not pass the test. Because to pass the test, you've got to be able to curl your trunk. So can you sit up without my holding your feet? You can. So you'll see some people who try to sit up and they can't sit up. That may just be the fact that the trunk mass is way too heavy for the leg mass. Most guys will have that problem. He's much heavier up here than he is down here. So if you were to try to sit up, go real slow, you'll notice his legs want to pick up off the floor, right? See they come off the floor? So what'll happen is they just, but if you literally just hold them down a little bit and now sit up, and then it goes, well, that obviously the abdominals are strong enough to do the job. It's just that there was a mass problem. Lay on back down. So for Brad, if I give him a little pressure here, he can sit up. I want to see articulated sitting up, not hip flexors on an isometric abs. I want to see abs flexing the spine to sit up and lay back down. If they can pass that test, I move on. There are people who cannot pass this test, believe it or not. You will hold their feet down, and they will look like a fish out of water. They'll literally just do that, and they don't go anywhere. As sad as that is, you don't need to do any more abdominal testing after that. That's under a 3, and they're just, the rest of your program is like, yeah. Okay, the next, so that is what is called a top-down flexion, or like an upper abdominal type test. The lower abdominal test has got to be bottom-up flexion. So it's pelvis on trunk, not trunk on pelvis. So the way that you test the lower abdominal flexion is with the leg raise and lower test. Bend your knees. So there's like a bunch of different ways to do this. With somebody who has tight hamstrings, you can't really do the classic test, which is raise your legs straight up in the air and then lower them down. Because if they have tight hamstrings, they can't get to the position. Then are you testing their abs, or are you testing their inability to, is it a mobility problem or a strength problem? So I've gotten into the habit of actually putting people in this position first. Go to 90-90, tabletop. I've gotten the habit of bringing people to here and seeing if they can push down against my hand, and then asking them to slowly lay their legs down. So you don't run into that hamstring problem at all doing this, right? The classic test is like this. Raise your legs straight up in the air. Okay, from there, slowly lower down. And the scoring goes like this. Between 0 and 30 is a 3. Between 30 and 60 is a 4. And between 60 and 90 is a 5. Okay? So it's pretty simple. Now, I don't know if he's a 5 yet because I'm not monitoring him. So bend your knees, lift your hips, and I go right on the belly button. Now, truth be told, you're supposed to be at the belly button, but some people's apex of their lumbar curve is above the navel. So then you'd have to move their hand up to what you feel to be the largest point in their curve. Okay? Now, bring your legs up in the air. You have to be a little careful with this. You can hurt your hand with people who don't have a lot of fat back there, because their spinous process literally like crushes. Don't do that. Like crushes your hand, right? So you bring them up. I'll usually give them a little assistance, and I'll say, hold against my hand here. Hands across your chest. Sorry. Oh. Okay, and slowly lower your legs down. Don't lose pressure, don't lose pressure, don't lose pressure, don't lose pressure. And Brad's a 5. He succeeded in maintaining full pressure all the way down. That's very, very, very rare. Brad is an athlete, so he gets a 5. Let's do the alternate test. So go to tabletop. Okay, and then pressure on my hand. Now, if you go to tabletop and they can't push on your hand, that's it. Fail. Test is done. So 90-90, push on my hand, push, 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 push. Slowly extend your legs. Pressure's good, pressure's good, pressure's good, pressure's good, pressure's good, pressure's good, pressure's good. Again, that's extremely rare to be able to do that. So that is upper abs. Then that was lower abs. We have 2 more ab tests to do. We have rotational strength, and we have lateral flexion strength, which are both controlled by the obliques. So for rotational strength, go ahead and bend your knees. I will drop the table all the way down for this. Okay, interlock your hands up like this. Okay. Now, what I want him to be able to do, put your feet together, is I want him to be able to maintain neutral position while I push and pull. But here's the problem. Bend your legs a little more. If I push and pull like this, and he doesn't weigh anything, as I push and pull, he's actually going to slide across the table. Mm-hmm. Right. So what I do is, you just bring your knee up onto the table like this, and that stops that problem from occurring. Lock your elbows. They have to be locked. I then hook here and push here, and I make the test by leaning. Okay. By leaning. So now I'm leaning to my left, which allows me to pull here and push here. Okay? Stay where you are. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win. Yeah!
You shall not pass.
What I'm looking for is, I'm watching his midsection, sorry, Brian, and I'm looking to see, does his pelvis rotate on his ribs, or his ribs rotate on his pelvis, or can he maintain this position, okay? Then I'm going to do the opposite. Now, one way to do this is just walk to the other side of the table, put the other knee up, or if you want to cheat, you can just switch your knee and put it at his hip, and then pull here and push here. It's just about the same, okay? So now resist again. And you want 50-50. If I'm pulling here with 10 pounds, I'm pushing here with 10 pounds. If I don't, and I push here more than I'm pulling here, resist, I roll him. That's not a fair test. That's not him being weak. That's just him rolling on the table, okay? So that was the test for the upper abs, the lower abs, rotational strength. Now we're going to go lateral strength, okay? Lay on your side. So the way you test the lateral strength stuff is you kind of come into this position, hands across your chest. Good. And you're going to hold the feet down, and you're going to have them do a lateral sit-up against resistance and time it. And you're going to compare right versus left. So the way I do this is I'll climb on the table. I'll put my knee down and my foot up over their feet, and I'll sit down like this. Now I'm not crushing her because I'm sitting on my heels. And then I'll put my hands on the knees like this. So I got her down in a lot of different places. Does that hurt at all?
No.
Okay, are you ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, lift. 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, that's good. 14 seconds. Now the rule is they have to have the bottom rib clear. So the bottom rib must be clear. In other words, do it again, but don't clear your bottom rib.
Do it again.
That's not acceptable. That's not a lift. Clear your bottom rib. That's a lift. Okay, come on down. Okay, so that was 14 seconds. That was good. Now flip on over. Okay, now just so you know, it's not a bad idea to not count out loud. Because if you count out loud, exactly what you're saying is going to happen. They're going to know what the other score was, and when they get to 14, they'll lie down, or they'll try to beat their own score. So sometimes just count in your head, and then do it on the other side and write it down, if you think that's a possibility. Anyway, here we go. And go. 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. What did we just learn? I said, based on the anti-rotation press, that I thought she had a weak right oblique. And what did we just confirm?